Well, hello and welcome to my latest video. Guess where I am. Yes, see the sign, Land's End. Yes, Julian has reached Land's End. Actually, he hasn't left yet. I mean, I sort of come here and I'm about to head off again. Not heading off today, actually, going to head off tomorrow for reasons which shall be explained. Yes, this is the famous The Jog, and that, everyone, is the famous sign. Here, some of my fellow cyclists. Far be it from me to say that I got here before them, but the fact is, I got here before them. Well. They left Penzance about 8:45. Some of them went to Land's End, but not us, because we have already been to Land's End. And me and Ian and John and David, I'm not sure where David is at the moment, fair tonked it along through Red Ruth, cousin of Red Rum, a horse that disappeared, who knows where. And now, where are we now? We are in deepest, darkest Cornwall. I had a cousin one who said he went to Cornwall and it was shut. It was Sunday, it is Sunday, and we've been past one shop and that shop is closed. So I don't know whether we're going to get anything for lunch, and if we don't get anything for lunch, we are going to suffer. There is the rest of the gang stopped in the middle of the road for a snack. I've had a bit of a snack as well, you probably want to know what it is, and it's a Velo 40 Forza bar. Not sponsored by them, at least not yet anyway, but these are rather tasty. There's David, just arrived. David is riding a Cannondale, John is riding a Merlin, and Ian is riding one of Bradley Wiggins's old Pinarellos. Ian not quite as fast as Bradley Wiggins, but he's doing his best. So stay with us, and hopefully we will find somewhere for lunch. We've travelled about 45 miles, I should think, up and down. The climbs haven't been too bad, and we've rocked up here at Fratton, which is kind of a shopping village. So here we've got Marks and Spencer's, and we're at the cafe. Yes, we're at the cafe. Not a great deal of choice. So I've ended up with, you'll probably want to know this, an egg and cress watercress sandwich, a piece of carrot cake, which is here, bottle of water here, bottle of Coke here, and some cheese and onion crisps here, and they are about to be consumed. So, do you want to see them being consumed? Probably not. And we're on the road to Tavistock. I was just saying to John, when you ride this route yourself, you realise how extraordinary the end-to-end record is, and just what must be required to achieve this ride in under 2 days. It's going to take us 9 days, and we're going to feel that that's pretty tough. So to do it in 2 days is absolutely extraordinary. That's Ian up ahead. All right. And over there in the distance is, actually I don't know what it is, Cornwall I suppose. Wadebridge, now Bodmin, yoga and wellness, just what you need. I didn't film it, but I had a puncture, bloody puncture. And you know what I had a puncture in? A tubolito, yes, you would have guessed it. So not only is Julian an absolute failure when it comes to tubeless tyres, he's now a failure when it comes to Tubolito in a tube. So I was going to do a long-term review of the Tubolitos, but looks like I ain't going to get a chance because they ain't going to last for the long term. So save your money. That's what I reckon. Save your money. So Ian's Garmin is counting down the climbs, and we've just done the 12th of 17, and just done 65 miles. Let me just check. Yeah, we've done 65 miles, so about 18 to go, something like that. As you can see, the weather is glorious. Sky is blue, sun is shining, clouds are out. Sun is shining, not a cloud to spoil the view, but it's raining in my heart. There's some beautiful countryside here. Don't know how much the GoPro can pick it up. Sheep gambling in the fields. Gamble aware. Here comes Ian with a sheep in front of him. Not sure if the sheep has beaten him up the hill. Looks like it might have done. But it's a glorious day, glorious weather. And there he goes.
Well, first full day of Le Jog completed. We'll regard the first unofficial day as a prologue day, because on that day rode from Penzance to Land's End, back to Penzance again. So did the Land's End to Penzance leg. So today was the first full day, and we went from Penzance to Tavistock, which was 83 miles, 7,800 feet of climbing. And not a bad day, actually. The weather was very fine. Blue sky, sun was shining, warm but not too hot. So a pleasant day to ride in. A lot of climbing, 17 categorised climbs or listed climbs on Ian's Garmin. But we managed to tackle them all, quite well. And I felt pretty good on the climbs, which I put down to a few things. First of all, I'm a bit fitter, but most importantly, I've lost some weight. Yes, thank you very much. Over a stone, if you're counting. Second thing is, new bike. That's not such an issue, but it's a lighter bike. Not the lightest bike that I own, but a pretty light bike. But it's got pretty low gears. 48-31 at the front, 11 to 34 at the back, since you ask. And there's nothing like decent low gears to make it a bit easier up the hills. Third thing is, the hills weren't really as difficult as I was expecting. I thought they'd be kind of 20-25% ramps, but they weren't. They were sort of 14, 15, 16% ramps, but it wasn't too bad. And so a fine ride, actually. We took it fairly easily. We didn't stop as much as we should have done for food. We finally reached a place called Fradden, where we found a Marks and Spencer's, enormous Marks and Spencer's, like a whole military encampment. I suppose the thing about Cornwall is people in Cornwall, I mean, they don't go to the beaches or Newquay or surfing or anything like that because they already live there. They don't have to go on holidays. Where do they go on a Sunday for a little bit of entertainment? Yes, they go to TK Maxx and the Marks and Spencer's cafe, so that's where we stopped. Not a great selection of food, but we managed to get enough sustenance. And then again through rolling hills, but quiet roads, nice roads, until we reached Tavistock, where we rocked up at the Bedford Hotel, rather posh hotel actually, rather a pleasant hotel. I was thinking that when you're doing Le Jog, you ought to have farmers who come out and kind of throw you their daughters or perhaps their sheep or something like that, or throw rose petals in your path like you're a liberator of Paris. It hasn't happened, but idea there for those of you who are on the jog route. We'd like a little bit of encouragement while we're cycling along. Ian and I didn't fancy the restaurant in Bedford. Very nice looking food. We had quite posh food, but not that I wasn't into posh food, because I am sometimes into posh food, but I wasn't into posh food on the Le Jog trip, because I fancied a bit of bulk, a bit of pasta, a bit of spaghetti, a bit of rice, something like that. So Ian suggested an Indian. I said, "Are you mad, an Indian? Just before 100-mile ride?" He said, "Yeah, why not?" So we went. and we had quite a decent Indian and got back here about 9 o'clock, not too late. Went to bed and that's it. And now it's the next morning and today we are off to Wookey Hole. Yes, I've never seen Wookey's Hole before, but this is going to be a new experience. 100 miles and about 6,000 feet of climbing. So I'll probably do a little bit of filming on the way and I'll have a catch up with you later on in the evening. So I hope you're having a good day and see you soon. The top of Dartmoor. Oh, that was a tough old climb with the Hound of the Baskervilles yapping at my heels. The GoPro doesn't do it justice. There you can see half a dozen of the famous hounds. And look at the landscape. Stretches far away, far away. Look at that. Feast your eyes, gang. Feast your eyes. Descending now from Dartmoor, top of Dartmoor. May not be the top. You want to see me? This is me. Flying down Dartmoor like a man possessed. The top of Dartmoor. Tough old climb that was. But now we have a long descent.
Alright, all good?
All good,
That's it, that's the first really big one. That's a really big one out of the way. Yeah. Well done, guys.
There goes Mark and Charlie, also known as Dad and number one son. My number one son is at home. Hope he's enjoying himself. And now we have a long, fast descent. Dartmoor. There's a sign back there, right? Says sheep lying on road. So I passed the sheep, right? And I said, "You're a sheep, aren't you?" He said, "I'm not." I said, "You fucking are, you're a sheep." He said, "I'm not a sheep. I'm an alpaca." I said, "Well, TB then, mate, that's you done for." "Okay," he said, "I'm a sheep." Sheep lying on road. I'll get me coat. We're on Dartmoor, everyone. And Dartmoor, more and more Dartmoor. Dartmoor, as far as the eye can see. Or at least the lens of the GoPro. And if you can see there, right, the road goes ever onwards up that climb after climb after climb. Here comes a cyclist. Do you want to wave? Morning. Some of the famous Dartmoor bulls here, and the nuts who come across. Just hope they don't feel like charging. Fucking hell. The size of those bastards. They don't look very friendly, do they? Wow. Go for it, man. Cars ain't coming through. There's a couple of picadors there in the Ford Fiesta. And old Gordino with his suit of lights and his matador sword is going to go for them. I reckon there's a couple of kids in the car who maybe just going to practice on this sheep. He's one of those sheep lying on road. Oof, well, we've got about 33 miles in 3 hours, more than 3 hours. A lot of climbing, and we've reached Crediton. Now we're going to have something to eat in Crediton and then visit the toilet in Debiton. You have no idea how long I've been thinking about that joke. And here is Ian, who's bought us some nice coffees. Good man, Ian, thank you very much. Now, Ian bought these coffees from one coffee shop.
Yes.
I went to another coffee shop to order some food. And they said, do you want coffee? And I said, no, my friend Ian has ordered me coffee from somewhere else. And they said, where are you sitting? I said, we're sitting just over there. And they said, you can't sit there, that's not one of our tables. And I said, well, it's all right, it's one of the other places where we got the coffee. And I said, well, we can't do your food as a take-in then, we've got to do it as a takeaway. So I said, okay, I'll have a takeaway. I didn't order you any food, by the way, because I didn't know what you wanted.
Which one is it?
It's that one over there, but they do quite a lot of food.
Which one?
The one right there, on the corner.
That one?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So Ian is now off to get his food. Now, I don't think we are going to get to the next place, which is called Wookey Hole, or Wookey's Hole, and you have no idea how long I've been thinking of that joke. Much before 6, or indeed 7, but we're not the last. No, we're not the last. Young lady Emma, youngish anyway, and the ride leader, back marker, his name is Richard, are behind us. So we're going to have to get a wiggle on because we don't want to be the last. We do not want to be the last. I always like to do a coffee shot for my friends Henry Wildbury and Miss Cools. This is what the Americans call a money shot, I think. That's where you're at the cafe and you get a picture of some coffee with a frothy top. That's the money shot for you. Greetings, Henry and Miss Cools. Hope you're enjoying life. Always watch your videos with great enjoyment.
Chris and Craig. Craig. Yeah.
Lunch. Well, lunch or snack. This is a smoked salmon bagel, and because it was takeaway, right, this is the takeaway box that it came in. It had a little bit of salad and some about 3 or 4 of those kind of taco, what are they called, tortilla chips, which I've eaten. A little bit of greenage just left there. We are fair tonking along what is called, I believe, the Somerset Levels. That's Ian up ahead. You want to see me? That's me. Say hello. Hello. It's been a long day today. Long day in the saddle. First 50 miles, very tough. Lot of climbing. Second 50 miles, largely flat. Fair old tonking along. So, a nice day now. We've come across this idyllic stretch of water with the cows there. They've just been for a swim, believe it or not. Bit of front crawl, bit of backstroke even. The odd bit of butterfly, yes. They're going to be appearing in the Cow Olympics in a couple of years' time. And good luck to them, that's what I say. Representing Somerset, probably. No. Look at the shadows. Look at the shadows lengthening in the Monday evening sunshine. Yeah, no, you're right.
I've just come out with a bucket and just go
Yeah.
and sluice it down to the deck.
It's good to see cows in a field.
As opposed to where?
Well, they're keeping them in stalls, aren't they?
That's right.
Auto milking.
We saw some in the river back there. Is that common?
No, we had one in the ditch earlier on.
No, there was a couple of them actually.
Oh, is that why the bloke
Come on.
was?
Go on, bankroll. Come on. Move.
Is that his name? Bankroll.
Yep. Some of them have got names, some of them haven't.
Hmm. How do you tell which ones have got names and which ones haven't?
You've got an ear tag and a bankroll written on it.
Oh, right.
Come on. Only bicycles, you know what bicycles they are.
Do they?
Come on.
Clever.
Hello.
No, yeah.
Oh,
Right.
Come on then.
that's a young one.
Isn't that nice?
Oh.
Come on, boys, girls, girls, aren't they?
Because with people, I know what you mean about people keeping them inside. It's all, unfortunately, everything in this world boils down to that.
Yeah.
Economics. We live in a country where people want cheap food.
And milk prices haven't gone up for how long?
I left school 40 years ago and went to work on a dairy farm, and we were getting 15p a litre for the milk.
Yeah.
We're getting about 30p a litre now. Yeah. If you put it through an inflation calculator, we should be getting somewhere in the region of about 65 to 70 pence a litre.
Yeah.
But the cost of reducing it, come on.
I live near Harper Adams Ag College.
Tell you what, if you're quick.
Okay, flash to 80.
Thank you. Clyde.
Take care.
Enjoy your evening.
Yeah.
Well, day 2 of the jog completed yesterday, last night actually. It's now morning of day 3. Getting a little bit confused. What was day 2 like? Well, it was Tavistock to Wookey Hole in Somerset, 103 miles, 7,000 feet of climbing. So we came out of Tavistock, went about half a mile and went up a bloody steep climb. Well, actually, it wasn't that steep, no, it was quite long. And then there was a bit of respite, and then there was another long climb up to the top of Dartmoor. And there was a glorious view over the valley, the mist hanging, deserted Dartmoor, hounds baying, sheep, anyway. And then we carried on and got to Crediton when we stopped for lunch. I had a puncture, yes, there'll be a story about that. And we finally reached Wookey Hole, famous for its caves and a rather strange kind of tourist attraction. A bit like what they've done to Land's End. Why do they ruin these places? Where we didn't get until 25 to 8, where we were met by the ride leader who said dinner is at 7:45, so you've got 10 minutes to get changed. My Wahoo died about 5 miles before the finish, and then I had a massive problem with my phone. I couldn't get my phone to work, and I couldn't turn my phone off. And when I tried to turn my phone off, it went to the emergency SOS and dialed, believe it or not, the SOS service in France. I had a Frenchman on the line saying, yes, what is your problem? And I said, I haven't got a problem, I can't turn my phone off. And he wasn't very happy about that, but he wasn't nearly as unhappy as I was anyway. So the story of the punctures. So I'm here at John O'Groats with Julian Hutchings. Can I call you Julian? Yes, please do. Who's just completed 900 miles of the jog. What is your abiding memory of that trip, Julian? Well, punctures, actually. Well, punctures, really. What about the glorious British countryside you've cycled through? No, I'd say punctures. What about your companions? I bet you made some friends for life on that trip of a lifetime. No, punctures, actually. What about you look deep into your soul and you found something there that's going to set you up for the rest of your life? What an achievement, Julian. You did it for charity. No, I didn't do it for charity. And, punctures, actually. Well, thanks to Julian Hutchings. If you're interested in doing the jog and getting a load of punctures, then contact Julian. So, anyway, punctures. Day 3 today, and we are going from Wookey Hole through Bristol. I think we're going over the Clifton suspension bridge to Ludlow in Welsh Wales. So catch up with you later, and I do hope there aren't a lot more punctures. Take care.
Wookey Hole, ready for the off. Some of the guys have already off-skied. We're going to off-ski in a minute. There's been some furious tyre pumping, some furious lubrication, some furious checking of legs and muscles and tired arms and tired legs. And, well, we're off to Welsh Wales. So, next stop, Ludlow. Actually, we'll probably stop before then, but you know what I mean. Next stop, Ludlow, sort of. Final destination, star date. Toughest climb of the trip so far. Came out of the hotel, turned left, went 200 yards, boom. Got to be 14, 15, 16, 17% at least. And the best part, I'd say probably a mile, maybe even longer. So here I am at the top just waiting for Ian. And I thought there'd be a fabulous view from up here, but a fabulous view of fields. That's the trouble, you get so high up. They say once you're on the top of Everest you can't see anything, but I'm not sure I believe that. Onwards, and hopefully not upwards. Well, Bus shelter shenanigans. We're on the road to Bristol and we've run across Mark and Charlie, father and son, also known as Batman and Robin. We have had their problems on this trip, has to be admitted. And now Charlie has broken a cleat and so he needs to find a bike shop. So here we are, the side of the road, on the way to Bristol. Ask for this great deliverer now and find him, eyeless in Bristol, at the mill with a broken cleat. John Milton. Good cyclist in his day. TTs mostly, 10s, the odd 25. Never tried the 50. We have reached the Clifton suspension bridge and we are about to head across it. Can we cycle across it, Ian? Do we cycle across it, did he say?
Yeah. Well,
The Clifton suspension bridge. Yes, under suspension. And Ian is going to take a quick photo.
the money shot.
I hope. This is the famous, well, no, it's famous, Chapter and Holmes coffee snack wagon. Right on the south side, well, this side of the Clifton suspension bridge. And here is most of the Lejog gang who rocked up here. Some of them have gone our route, but some of them took a detour and went up Cheddar Gorge. Yes, kudos to them. And now they're heading off over the bridge, over the Clifton suspension bridge, heading to, I don't know, is it Welsh Wales on the other side of the bridge? I'm not sure. Expect we'll find out. And the snackage at the moment is Tony's Choco Lonely. And there, Ian has brought me flat white to go with my Choco Lonely. I never know what a flat white is, but my daughter Rachel ordered one once, and I thought it's good enough for her, good enough for me. So there is a flat white. Feast your eyes. Tony's Choco Lonely and a flat white. Just what the hard-working Lejog cyclist needs to keep him going. It's another view of the Clifton suspension bridge. And so what to say about it, really? It's a bridge. And it's suspended in mid-air as if by magic. Well, it's not magic, actually. It's steel cables, I think. Magic steel cables. Here comes a cyclist and across the bridge. On a creaking bike. Lots of cars. This is the famous Severn Bridge. Yes, bridge number 7, built by the Romans when they first came to Britain in 1966. And here is the famous River Severn. And just by the bridge we met, yes, the one and only Severn Bore. And he said to us, did you know this was the 7th bridge built by the Romans? And this is the Severn Bore, which is a tidal river, the only tidal river in the country. And we said, how many years have you been boring people with that story, you Severn Bore? And he said, it is all true. It is not a word of a lie. And here, the traffic thunders past, and the wind whistles past, taking us into Welsh Wales for the first, and let us hope the only time on this trip. And I'm buffeted by the wind. I'm struggling to hold the camera steady I'm doing my best for you, my wonderful loyal viewers, and I hope you're enjoying this more than I am. So now we're cycling over the Severn Bridge, across the great expanse of the Severn Bore, and there is the great supports of the bridge. There's Ian up ahead. There, as I move the camera, you can see the great Severn Bore. This is the famous Tintin Abbey. I was always a big fan of the Tintin books when I was younger. Captain Haddock, Snowy, the dog, and the Thompson twins. I think one of my favourites was always Rachmaninoff's Treasure, which was a kind of search for second piano concerto of Rachmaninoff. I always enjoyed that one. Anyway, this is here I was in Welsh Wales. Tintin in Welsh is Tintern Abbey, as they say. And we stopped here. They said no more guests in the cafe, but we went in anyway. Couldn't get any proper food. I managed to get some carrot cake and a packet of crisps, and then a Coke. And Ian's gone for a number 2, so we could be here for some while. So, Tintin Abbey. And we're cycling along, having left Tintin's Abbey, cycling along around past this rather attractive river, which now you can no longer see because it's hidden behind a fence. Oh, there it is. You can just see it down there, not really very easily. It's Ian up ahead. Next stop, Monmouth, coffee.
Day 3 or 4, depending on how you look at it, completed, and this was Wookey Hole to Ludlow in Shropshire. Came out of Wookey Hole Hotel, went about 100 yards and went up the steepest and the longest climb that we've done on the trip so far. Thereafter, a relatively uneventful journey. The Clifton suspension bridge, a fascinating thing. Never been there before. That was nice, and we had a great cup of coffee at a little shack. Well, not a shack actually, a kind of wheeled shack. Just before the bridge, and then the Severn Bridge, yes, going into Welsh Wales, big old bridge that is, shaking a little bit over the Severn Bore, and that was very enjoyable. Apart from that, I went through Monmouth, went through Chepstow, had a cup of coffee in Hereford, and went to Tintin Abbey, scene of some of Tintin and Snowy's greatest adventures. Big excitement today was that I didn't get a puncture. Although Robin, of Batman and Robin fame, did have a problem with his cleat, which delayed him for a little while, and we stopped to help, although there wasn't much we could do. And then finally we arrived in Ludlow, the last 10 miles from Hereford. I've got to say, bit of a drag, bit of a slog, bit of the tired legs, and came, a beacon of light in that great long wilderness, and we rocked up at the Travelodge Hotel, and if you can hear the lorries thundering past, you will know that Travelodge is near a main road. Anyway, decent meal last night. Cheesy nachos, they weren't great actually, and then a lamb and mint burger with chips and slaw, followed by the biggest strawberry and fresh cream sundae you have ever seen in your life. And today it's 115 miles and we're going to Chorley in Lancashire, so we're looking forward to that. Let's hope it's a good day.
Well, Shrewsbury, and what have we done? We've done about 30 miles, a flat route, which Ian complained about for every bloody step of the way, because he thinks we've made a long day, even longer and even harder than it needed to be. Anyway, we've slightly gone off route to pop into this cafe here to get some snackage. This is called Peach Tree and Restaurant, or something like that. It's a cloudy day here in Ballamore. It's a little bit cold actually. Got the old arm warmers on. As you can see, the Rafa, yes, the Rafa Brevet wind cheating top, and there's a church here. I think they call that a church. Do they call that a church? Or do they call it a VW transporter? camper van. Yes, look out for my camper van videos coming fairly soon. Past young Nick on the road, slowed down a bit from yesterday. Had the scampi last night and was throwing up all night, so we kept well clear of him on the road. There's Ian, who has not stopped moaning since we left wherever it was, Ludlow. Yes, Nick was laid low in Ludlow. It's a laboured pun, isn't it? Turns out this is the famous Shrewsbury Abbey, and this cafe that we've just been in, well, I've just been for a leak, it's enormous. And there were, well, in the back room there's about 40 monks having breakfast. Lattes, flat whites, a couple of espressos. One of them had a cup of tea. It was weird. And then they started praying. So I made a hasty exit. Anyway, this is Shrewsbury. Shrewsbury School, apparently, is in Shrewsbury. Alma mater of Willie Rushton, Michael Palin, and various others whose names escape me. But perhaps you know. Leave a comment down below if you know who went to Shrewsbury School. I'm sure others would be interested. Whitchurch. What church? No, Whitchurch. Why church? No, Whitchurch. We have fair tonked it along since Shrewsbury at about 16, maybe even 17 miles an hour. And here we are, we've rocked up Whitchurch and we've found ourselves a cafe. And this is the Cafe Bon Sol. And we have ordered food. The thing about the job, one of the things about the job, is the only things you think about is peddling and food. So, sorry, carry on. And peddling you just kind of do naturally. So you think about food all the time. And that's what we're having. Food. I don't think they're doing the job. Yeah. There's a couple of dogs. Dogs might be doing the job. Not sure about him though. Well, you've stopped. Well, I thought it was about time you had some riding along video. We've left Whitchurch and we're heading for Nantwich. Nantwich in Cheshire. Can you see me? You can see me. Nantwich, where we were pleased to see the Bike Adventures van. Nantwich, so named, interestingly enough, because my nan, who came from Nantwich, had a twitch. And every grandma, in fact this is a place where all the grandmas who had a twitch were in the 18th century and partly in the 19th century, they were forced to live until by an Act of Parliament in 1842, passed by Gladstone, nans with a twitch were allowed to live anywhere in the country. But my nan, she kept up that old tradition and enjoyed living in Nantwich. And we used to go and see her. She'd make us a fairy cake and stuff like that. And we'd say, give us your twitch, Nan, give us your twitch. And that was our entertainment when we were young children and didn't have much money and there was no internet. So, you know, we were poor, but we were happy. Actually, we weren't happy. We were poor and we weren't happy. So, if you ever want to come to Nantwich, you can come, but don't bring your nan. Stop for a piss, since you asked. We've just left Winsford and we're on our way to the next place. I don't know where it is. Blue sky now, sun's come out, not bad. Well, for the first time on this trip, sun's in my eyes, we got a bit lost or taken a wrong turning on a roundabout with about 18 different roads turning off it. And we've been round it 4 times. What's that? 4 times 18, that's 36, that's 72 different potential turnings, and we've got them all wrong. So we've come in here into a KFC. Yes, didn't know they had KFC in the north of England, but they do. Don't do milkshakes because of Brexit or something to do with that anyway. But very helpful gentleman. Told us which way to go, and we had a look on the sheets that we were given by our ride leader, which so far I've taken no notice of, and now I'm grateful that we had. So Ian's going to stuff his face with Zinger. He's going to zinger zinger Sputnik. Is that it? What was that? What was that band called? I can't remember. Something Girls. Bow Wow Wow. No. Anyway, been a long day. 80 miles so far, and we've got about 35 still to go. So I hope the KFC will keep us going, or keep Ian going anyway. I'm having a Lipton iced tea for my trouble.
We are now going across the Wolverton Bakery toll bridge. Nobody told us about this. This is 12p for cars and hopefully free for bicycles. I guess we'll find out. This reminds me, this landscape reminds me quite a lot of Flanders. See Roberts Builders. There, you often see that van in Flanders. We've done 93.7 miles so far, 115 to do today in total, so just over 20 miles to go. Been a long day, but very little climbing, so pretty flat.
Do you want to see me? It's me. Evening team. That's Ian shouting what? 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 We're in the beautiful town of Warrington, known as the Bruise of the North. We've just ticked over the 100-mile mark. I've just had a gel. Ian is feeling the need for a bit of energy boost as well. But things are going pretty well. So looking forward to getting to Chorley. I'm not sure I'm looking forward to getting to Chorley, but looking forward to getting to Chorley. Chorley. Don't call me Chorley.
Day 4 of the job completed, and we set off from Ludlow, heading towards Shrewsbury. Ian was not happy about the back roads that we took, and I must say they were sort of flat, but we had the 3 climbs of the day all came within the first 5 miles. Roads were pretty terrible, but then we got to Shrewsbury where we had a snack. Pain au chocolat, since you ask. And then on to Wem, W-E-M, oddly named town, I thought. And then to Whitchurch, where we stopped in Whitchurch. Whitchurch was a rather strange place, and we struggled to find a cafe, although we did in the end. Very nice waitress called Jasmine came. I ordered a sandwich. I said to her, "What sort of bread have you got?" And she kind of looked at me like I was weird. And she said, "White or brown?" I nearly made the mistake of asking for a sourdough, but luckily I didn't. So we had a bit of food there. Coronation chicken sandwich was rather odd, actually. It seemed to be made of salad cream mixed with tomato ketchup. No curry to speak of, but there was chicken. So rather tasty. And then we carried on, started to go through Cheshire, the kind of flatlands of Cheshire, through some rather posh areas. Ian told me it's where Posh and Betts used to live. I said they lived in Hertfordshire. No, he said when they lived in Manchester, or when he played for Manchester, which was obviously a while ago, before he got famous. And then we headed really into some kind of conurbations, and it was the Warrington conurbation. Warrington, I'm afraid to say, is not the prettiest town I've ever visited. Not sure I'll be rushing back there in my camper van, but I suppose I might do. I said to Ian, I was making a mental note of places through Britain that I would come back and explore at a later date with my dear wife. Shropshire, I said, is not probably going to be very high on the list, but who knows, perhaps I'm mistaken about that. So Ian was kind of flagging a bit towards the end. It was the longest day in terms of miles, 117.2 miles. miles, but about 4,500 feet of climbing, so generally pretty flat. So we finally rocked up at the Premier Inn in Chorley, usual kind of time, which is when we're turning up at these places, which is about 7:15, not too bad. Managed to get in and have dinner at about 8 o'clock and get sorted out and so forth. The amount of time it takes sorting out electronics, sorting out the power bank, plugging everything in, charging it up, getting onto Strava, sorting out your ride. Oh, God, it's a pain. And then trying to rinse out your clothes. I had a Raffa top I was wearing, which I was washed out, and a pair of shorts. Yeah. One tip, or big tip, this, do keep your shorts clean. You do not want to be wearing dirty shorts on a trip like this because you will suffer with saddle sores. Touch wood, so far I've not suffered. So it's an earlier start today because they're doing breakfast at a sensible time, 7 a.m, which is really what you need on this kind of trip. So we'll be going down to breakfast, well, I'll be going down to breakfast with the others fairly soon, I should think. And then we'll be heading off into what should be some very nice countryside, because we're going through the Lake District, up Shap Fell, one of the iconic climbs of the Lejog route, and our destination is Carlisle. Last night, Martin, who's one of the ride leaders, came out with a piece of paper. He said you have to order your meals 2 days in advance for one of the hotels that you're going to. Isn't that strange, actually? You have a menu, and you have to try and think, what do I want to eat in 2 days' time in the evening? One thing I've craved a lot on this trip, I've got to say, which is really good for long-distance cycling, is pasta. And have we been to a place that sells pasta? No, we have not. It has been chips, 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 and more chips, and I am totally chipped out. See you later. Bye.
Heading out from Chorley towards Carlisle, and we've been caught at a level crossing. Going up ahead, it's Ian on the right, Nick on the left, and up ahead in the middle is Chris. Chris is from Wales, Nick is from South London, Ian is from Shroppy, me, that's Julian, I'm from Kent. You want to see me? Morning team, morning gang. Looking forward to a good day in the saddle. Well, we have fair tonked it along from, where have we been? Chorley, the 25 or 30 miles to what seems to be another beautiful city of Lancaster. So there's very much a French feel, kind of Italian feel as well. And we're about to settle down here at a coffee shop to have ourselves some sustenance. Yes. Good day so far. We were leading the peloton. We were caught by four of the fast boys who swished past us, patted us on the bottom as they went, as you do. And but no one else. Our Minutemen so far well behind us. So we're going to settle in for some coffee. And here is the money shot from my friend Henry Wildbury and Miss Cools. Look at that, what a beautiful design. Painted on, incidentally, using nail varnish. Very impressive nonetheless. And a miniature, as you can see there, using my fingers as scale, a miniature breeze block, which I shall use to build the sweetie walls. And crossing this river, not sure what river it is, on this rather interesting pedestrian and cycle bridge. Very attractive. Not the Clifton suspension bridge, we did that the other day. Try and pay attention. We've joined a bit of a peloton. Some of the fast boys, some of the younger lads, some of the older lads, older blokes. So us two old blokes have joined some of the older blokes and a couple of younger blokes. And we're tonking along past Lancaster. The sea is off to our left. Well, you can't see that, it's over the bushes. Trust me. We're heading, next stop, the birthplace of Susie Kendall, one of the finest actresses
of our older generation. Only some of you will remember Susie Kendall. She was very famous for having a famous arse. Doubt if she does anymore. So I put on a burst of speed and catch up with this speeding peloton. There. We had enough. You can see me now. How does that feel? That is the background.
We have reached the halfway point. We have gone. How far have we gone then, if this is halfway? Anybody know? I know it's 4.5 days out of 9, but is it? Right, everyone here, we are a little bit confused because we are here on this bridge over this rather attractive river, and we're in the Lake District. Here's the gang. This is Kevin.
What's up, mate?
Nothing. I was just saying your name for the screen.
The good looking one.
Yeah, you're a bit close, Kevin. Fishes, yeah. Vicious fishes. The Bike Adventures gang stop on the road just before Kendal for the application of chamois cream, the refilling of bottles, the general chit chat, and the pride before the climb of Shap Fell. Elvis Presley had a song about that called Old Shap. He had a dog, an Alsatian, I think, which was born on the Shap Fell and then travelled to Louisiana, where Elvis wrote a song about it. Old Shep, it was called. I think Shep died, as of course did Elvis Presley in 1977, although I think the dog may have died earlier, but I might be mistaken. Old Shap. Old Shep. Ship or Shap? Ship shape and ship out Shep. Arrived at the beautiful town of Kendal, birthplace of the actress known as Susie, star of The Good Life, one of the most boring comedy programmes ever made. So we stopped here with young Nick. Nick's a barrister, by the way, and we're going to have something to eat. We did want pasta. We wanted pasta all week, actually, but pasta is off. So we're going to be stuck, probably with a toasty. Bloody toasty. It's either toasty or chips. Chips or toasty. Toasty, toasty, toasty. Toasty and toasty, or chips and toasty. But no pasta. Give it a rest, says he. Let it go, says Julian. Let it go. I won't let it go. Well, this is one of the iconic, probably the most iconic climbs of the trip, and that is Shap Fell. We stopped in Kendal. Kendal was the first town built purely as a tourist destination, incidentally, built in the 1970s in the Georgian style, George Osborne style, and we stopped in a cafe, well, nice cafe, actually, rather friendly people, and had some food. And now we've got back on our bikes, obviously, and we're about to attempt, or not attempt, hopefully we shall succeed in the climb of Shap Fell. Quite an artistic shot there, isn't it? Bit of shadow, bit of hand action going on. Well, not that sort of hand action, but here we go. Do you want to see me before I start the climb? That's me, ready to start the climb, looking fresh as a daisy. Will I look as fresh as a daisy after I finish the climb? Only you can tell. Leave a comment down below if you want to know what I look like. I hate motorcycles and motorcyclists, don't you? And Mercedes drivers. A lot of things I hate, really. Just scratching my nose there, sorry about that. The climb of Shap Fell
completed. Gotta say, it wasn't that bad actually. I've done longer climbs, I've done steeper climbs, I've done longer and steeper climbs. As a climb, I thought it was pretty straightforward. The wind made it a little bit challenging in places. Shap Fell, incidentally, if you're wondering how it got its name, there was a farmer, Bob Jimmy Shap, his name was, and Farmer Bob Jimmy was a Mormon and was fond of having carnal relations with his sheep. And being a Mormon, he was actually married to 4 sheep. And one stormy night, Bob Jimmy Shap was on sheep number 3 and he fell off. And so Shap Fell became the name of this climb ever since. Poor old Bob Jimmy. History does not record what happened to the sheep. But then, as Nigel Farage memorably noted, history is written by the victors. This is Nick here. Hi Nick.
Lovely story.
Nick has also completed the climb of Shap Fell. What do you think of it?
I don't think I can put it into words that could be published, but I love the story of the sheep.
Ah, well.
Presumably that's where the song comes from, There'll Never Be Another You.
Yep, that is, yep. And it's back down Shap Fell with me in the foreground. If you want to see what's the other way, what's going on that way is a road. Big surprise. Is that Mr. McPhee? Mr. McPhee comes storming up the climb. The delights of Penrith. I'm in company of Mark and Charlie.
Did it get you into uni?
Got me to the National
We
Navy.
couldn't find a cafe,
Might have been even better.
but we found a
Really
pub.
responsive college.
Very nice lady. Offered to fill our bottles.
Yeah.
Which we thought was very grateful. Very nice lady. Nice cup of coffee too. And some crisps and some nuts.
Well, one of them actually did.
Fine day it is too. Sun is shining, sky is blue.
Practically.
Here's Ian wearing his, what would you call that, bandana?
Business studies at university.
Well, day 5 of the jog was a run from Chorley in Lancashire to Carlisle in Cumbria. Fairly flattish route, and we talked along probably about 16, 17 mile an hour, something like that, until we got to Lancaster, where we stopped at a very nice cafe, really one of those posh cafes, and we ordered a coffee which came in a glass with a glass of water with it, and a little kind of cube of a wafer biscuit, very attractively presented to us. I had a flapjack and a blueberry Bakewell tart. The thing about this trip, and I may have mentioned this already, is it's a combination of 2 things. It's pedalling and food, and that is really all you're interested in. Anyway, we carried on from Lancaster. We got to the halfway point where we met up with a lot of the other guys and had our photograph taken, and then pushed on to Kendal, which is basically a tourist town. We were travelling through the Lake District, and it was rather weird. We didn't actually see any lakes. Isn't that odd? But I mean, there are lakes in the Lake District. I mean, you would have thought so. The clue is in the name, but we didn't see any. Stopped at another cafe in Kendal this time. I had a tuna mayonnaise sandwich, thanks for asking. And then we carried on and we got to the climb of Shap Fell, which is the kind of, there's a word for it, isn't it? Not iconic, there's another word, but I can't remember. Anyway, we got to the iconic climb of Shap Fell, which was a fairly long, but not particularly steep, and I didn't think very hard climb, actually, although there was a headwind, which made it quite tough. And then we had a fairly long downhill route into Penrith, where we stopped. We stopped at a pub. We couldn't find a cafe, and had a coffee outside. The rest of the kind of Penrith people seemed to be getting steadily more and more pissed and looking at us rather oddly, as if they were sizing us up and preparing us for some kind of Penrith dinner. Anyway, the final 20 miles from Penrith to Carlisle were on a kind of almost completely flat, almost completely straight road. So you were just pedalling. There was no respite, no downhill, nothing at all. And I found the last 10 miles, I suppose I was flagging a bit. I was a bit tired, and we got finally to the Ibis Hotel, which we found eventually in the centre of Carlisle. And, well, it's a hotel, what else can you say? But being in the centre of town, Carlisle seems like a bit of a party town. I woke up at 4:20, and there was plenty of noise going on outside. There was some partying and dancing and drinking and fighting, and there seemed to be a sound of a lot of furniture being thrown around, which didn't stop until about 5 o'clock, which is when I suppose the various places closed. So today we're going to bonnie Scotland. Yes, we're crossing the border. I think we go via Gretna Green, and we end up in a place whose name I can't remember. But I expect there will be more of the peddling and there will be more of the eating. So catch up with you at the next stop.
Well, it's quite a cold day in Balamory as we're about to set off from Carlisle. And in the background, you can see the delights of the Carlisle Cathedral, built in 1967 to celebrate England winning the World Cup, as you can see. And it's quite a handsome building there, quite a handsome building. And this what is this? This is a container. This is a container for the bones of the saints. Yes, all the saints of Carlisle are buried here. And here you can see the car park. This is part of the car park of the original Carlisle Abbey, where many of the monks had Audis, VW Golfs, Mercedes, Range Rovers, the other kinds of cars that are commonly used to drive cyclists off the road. And it is no different here in Carlisle, close to the border. Close to the border, and we're close to the border with Scotland. So defences are raised, hackles are, is it hackles are raised? Defences are charged, flintlocks are loaded, and we await the arrival of the wicked Scotsmen and Scotswomen. So I'm told. We shall see. There is the Bike Adventures van there, parked outside the cathedral, ready to go. You want to see me? As the camera pans around. You're unlikely to see me with the camera panning around because I'm holding it in my hand, but if I turn it around like this. Hello! And I'm wearing the famous, yes, one of the famous, OPCC, Old Portland Cycling Club, gilet tops, made by Endura, a Scottish clothing company. Quite good quality, as it happens. I don't get a discount. I ought to. Scots don't give discount. Oh, what a terrible stereotype. Forget I said that. In fact, forget I said anything. Forget I said everything. Probably better. Yes, we have reached the wild borders of Scotland. Passports at the ready. Money to be changed. And here is the gang tonking along. But we were at the head of the peloton and they chased us down. Over there is the first house ever built in Scotland by Rob the Bruce, the top builder of his day.
Well, we're cycling through Scotland now, and you'll notice some key differences from England. First of all the sheep are wearing kilts. Don't know what they've got underneath them, bit of mutton I expect. And all the locals are sitting around eating haggis and talking in impenetrable accents. Some similarities that you notice with England. The roads are shit, full of potholes and damage and crap and all sorts. The birds are cawing there, singing proclaimers' songs. I could go 500 miles and then I'll go 500 more. That's not really a Scottish accent, is it? Mind you, I hear tell that the Proclaimers aren't actually a Scottish band. Things you learn, eh? Things you learn.
Morning from Scotland. Yes,
Welcome to the old country. Is it the old country? Or is it the new country? Or is it meet the new country, same as the old country? Anyway, it's Scotland. There's a Scottish hills there. Scottish hills with Scottish trees, Scottish grass, Scottish, what other things are there? Scottish bushes, Scottish birds, all things Scottish anyway. Because we're in Scotland. Oh shit, nearly hit a Scottish pothole and broke my stupid fucking Scottish, actually English, neck. Serves me right, you probably say. There goes Ian. Ian is not Scottish either. Ian is from Newport, which is in Shropshire, or Shroppy as he calls it. Cycling through some more fine Scottish landscape, and it's deserted roads. Pretty deserted roads, as you can see. Nice day, sun is shining, sky is blue, not a cloud to spoil the view, but it's raining. Raining in my heart. Actually, it's not raining in my heart. Not raining at all. Sunshine. Sunshine in my heart. Sunshine on the road. We have arrived in the little town or village of Moffat. You may remember the old nursery rhyme. Little Miss Moffat sat on a toffet while living in Moffat, and had a cup of tea and a toasted sandwich. I'm going to have a Scotch pie, and Ian tells me the Scotch pie, sorry, is a thing to eat. I have no idea what it is. I'm going to find out. I hope it doesn't have any haggis in it, or it comes, may even come in a kilt. Who knows? How many stereotypes can I get into this video? You'd be surprised. We're on the final stretch of today's ride. We've stopped, I don't know what it was called, and now we carried on. I don't know where we are, but there's some masts. I don't know what sort of masts. And there's some water. There's a tree. There's a car, nearly took me out. You shouldn't be riding along with a camera in your gob, Julian. Well, yeah, okay. Okay, I know, but how am I supposed to make a video unless I get the camera out? Give me a break. See what's behind. More than I can do. There's a sheep. There's more sheep. Lake, setting sun, and somewhere around is Glasgow and Edinburgh. I can't say where. This is Richard and Emma coming up to join us. There you can see them. Well, we finally made it. End of day 6 at the Boathouse Hotel in Kilsyth, Kilsyth, which I'm sure was a character in Star Wars. Anyway, it's obviously called the Boathouse because there is it's kind of a house and there's a marina. Bit of confusion. Can't seem to find the keys for our rooms at the moment, so we cycled 112 miles. Yes, 112 miles. Looking forward to a scrub and a wash up and a brush and a scrub up, and we can't get into our rooms. So me and the man McPhee are not exactly happy bunnies. So day 6, and we left Carlisle and fair tonked it along. In fact, Ian and I were at the front of the peloton, and we made it to Gretna Green after about 10 miles. Yes, Gretna Green,
and the gateway to Scotland. We were thinking of eloping, but we decided not to. In the end, we decided the wives would not be happy. But everyone stopped, had their photograph taken by the Scotland welcomes you sign, and we were welcomed by cheering Scotsmen in their kilts, waving their haggis in the air. And anyway, then we continued on through some very nice countryside, not that dissimilar to the English countryside, so I don't know what they're expecting to achieve by independence. Countryside's still going to look the same, but it's going to be Scottish trees, Scottish grass, Scottish fields, Scottish sheep even, instead of Great British stuff. Anyway, very nice countryside. We used a place called Moffat, where we stopped at the Mumbling Tum and had some food. Had a Scotch pie, one of the most revolting things I've eaten in my life. Rather a sort of pie, well, obviously, with a very indeterminate substance in the middle of it, which may or may not have been meat, but I decided not to inquire too closely, rather. It wasn't particularly tasty. It tasted very strongly of pepper, which may have been there to disguise the flavour, or may actually have just been the flavour. We then carried on a big climb, 4-mile climb, but a very shallow climb, not a very difficult one at all, and then a long descent, probably about 11 or 12 miles or so, through a fairly decent road until the road surface kind of broke up, as if to say to the cyclist, right, you've had your fun, and now it's potholes for you. And then we got to a town called Biggar, which was a little bigger than the previous town, which was called Littler, or fatter even, or smaller, or tinier, or restricted growth. And we stopped in Biggar and had something to eat. Again, this show is all about peddling and eating, a bit like life, really. Then the final 20 miles or so, maybe even a bit further than 20 miles, very nice countryside, some very fast descents, some very horrible conurbations, and eventually rocked up through a rather roundabout route along a cycle path, not my favourite thing, at a place called Kilsyth. No, me neither. And arrived eventually at where we are now and where I am filming in front of, which is called the Boathouse. And the reason it's called Boathouse, I suppose, is because it's by this kind of canal place where there are boats, surprisingly enough, and water. And now I'm walking along, so you're getting a good view of the canal and of the boats. And I'm just about to come to some kind of gate here. I'm going to walk the plank. I'm going to be forced to walk the plank by wicked Scottish women and wicked Scottish men. And look, I'm walking the plank, and I'm coming up to this sign now, and it says, danger, thin ice in August. No, surely not. No unauthorised entry, and there's a man there fishing while having a dump, which is an old Scottish custom, first popularised by Robert the Bruce, the first of the professional Scotsmen, and until he was sadly, sorely, but probably deservedly executed by the English for almost certainly what was a trumped-up charge. But such is life. Such is life. Do you want a close-up of that boat over there? It's quite nice, isn't it? The other thing I wanted to mention is for the last 20 or 30 miles, Ian and I seem to be stalked by a camper van Mazda Bongo. So we'd be riding along and we'd see this Mazda Bongo parked at the side of the road. We'd go past it and then it would come past us. And then we'd go past it again. Then it would come past us again. And we must have seen it about 6 or 7 or 8 times. And Ian said to me, you're getting paranoid. I said, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not trying to get you. And anyway, it was a Mazda Bongo, which I had some thoughts previously about getting as a camper van, although decided against it, as you will see when I do my camper van videos. And today we're heading off into the wilds of Scotland. Yes, we're going to see Rannoch Moor, and then Glencoe, I think, Glencoe, boy at my school called Glencoe, and then we will arrive at Fort William. And I don't know if you fought William when you were at school, but I fought William lots of times when I was at school, mostly lost, which was a great shame. So have a good day. It's a cool day here in Balamory, and a mist hangs over the water. I don't know if you can see the mist there. And well, shall I end with some silence?
Well, we left, oh, I can't remember the name, Kilsyth. That's it, yes, Kilsyth, Darth Vader. And we did a climb. It wasn't a very long climb, but then we had the most fabulous descent. I actually call it the second best descent ever. Let's wait for this car to go past. Off Campsie Fell, and Ian tells me that Campsie Fell is where the water comes from, and Campsie was the name of the first person to discover the water, and when he was on top of the fell he fell off, and so it's forever known as Campsie Fell. We just passed a house here with a sign saying Bogside, which sometimes you think is more information than you necessarily need. We are now pressing on to Calendar. As I was saying to Ian, they made a porn film about Calendar, and it was called Calendar Girls. Starred Helen Mirren, I believe. Right, I'm going to do something really naughty now. As you can see, this says keep out. So I'm going to go in. I'll probably get my stupid head blown off by a Scotsman wearing a kilt, eating a haggis. We have reached the not unattractive town of Calendar. 30 miles in, 30 miles togged along. And we've sat down here. They're very hot on the old test and trace here. So I've been tested, Ian's been traced, and he's been traced to this table where he is sitting and currently playing with his phone. Over there, on the other side of the road, are a couple of Geordies and a Northern Irishman who I have christened, in my typical way, the boys from the black stuff, because they are the fast riders. It's a motorcyclist going past. So 30 miles in on a 110 mile ride, 11:30. Not made bad time. Looking forward to, I don't know if you can see the menu. I'll turn it over. Black pudding. Lawn sausage. Do you know what that means? Lawn sausage? Yeah. Is that a sausage of rare delight? Anyway, might have a lawn sausage roll. So we have stopped here, wherever here is. Right there you can see the Harry Potter viaduct that he travels to and from Mordor, and we're looking down this valley, I suppose you'd call it. We've cycled up from Calendar past Loch Lubnaig, not one I've ever heard of. 2-lane road, a lot of caravans, a lot of motorbikes, a lot of rough surfaces, a lot of unpleasantness, a lot of hot weather, and you'll be pleased to know that my arse is absolutely killing me. Not because of saddle sores, it's just a kind of ache, which I suppose is caused by sitting on the saddle for over 50 hours. Whether another saddle would have been better, who knows, but well, I bought 2 of most things. I didn't actually bring 2 saddles, so note for next time, bring a spare saddle or even a spare arse. So that is Harry Potter land. The peloton pauses in its passage. Welcome to the Highlands of Scotland. We've left the lowlands and the medium lands,
and the middle lands and the not quite so high lands and the nearly high lands, and we've reached the Highlands of Scotland. I'll take the high road, you'll take the low road, and I'm already in Scotland. And I got here for you because I fucking smashed that climb. These cars going past gives you a pretty good idea of what this road is like. Look at that. Suddenly there is silence, except for the sound of my voice in Scotland, surrounded by Scottish grass, Scottish tarmac, Scottish lochs, loch to do. We've been past Padlock, been past Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, been past Lock the Door on your way out. Well, here we are. We have been through the pass of Glen Miller, pass of Glen Matlock of the Sex Pistols, the pass of Glenda Jackson, and now we have reached the pass of Glencoe. And once we've passed through this, we will reach the pass of Glen Hoddle, one of the great footballers of his generation. Probably not one of the great managers of his generation. Was manager of England for a short time, but his reign was not a happy one. And now, crawling up the road is the gruppetto. The gruppetto that Ian and I have flashed past on the road to Glencoe. I don't know if you can see them there. They are pretty small, pretty far away, going pretty slowly. Incidentally, Ian and I nearly saw the end of our jog as we were practically wiped out by a red Jaguar F-Pace. What other kind of Jaguar is there? Go boys! Go boys! Smash it boys! Go boys! Yes, that was all part of the jog gang. Gilly gang. Ghoulie. A long descent through the pass of Glencoe, scene of that great massacre of the Glens, Glen Hoddle, Glen Miller, Glenda Jackson. And here we've stopped at this lock of my true love's hair, perhaps, who knows. There's the guys, some of the peloton. The thing about this route is we come across members of the peloton and then we lose them again and then we come across them again. A bit like the Tour de France. Day 7 of the jog took us from Kilsyth to Fort William, where I am now. As you can see, it's no entry into Fort William early on a Sunday morning, but the ride on Saturday, a ride of two halves, I think it would be fair to say. There were some fabulous climbs. Really enjoyed the climb up to Campsie Fell, which was only about 3 or 4 miles after we left our hotel in Kilsyth. And then probably one of the best descents I've ever had off Campsie Fell. Road fairly decent, not wonderful, but hardly any traffic,
You could see the road from quite a long way away, so you could pick your own lines, as they say, through the bends. Really enjoyed that. And then we had a climb after the bridge of Wookey, which I powered up almost in the big ring. Yes, wait for it. And in fact, checking Strava, I was 4th in my age group. And then we had the run across Rannoch Moor, and then the descent through Glencoe, which was also a fabulous descent. But the reason I say it's a ride of two halves is for a lot of the time we were on a 2-lane, fairly narrow road with really no space at the side, and just endless thundering traffic. Motorhomes, camper vans, caravans, and the worst culprits of all, the motorcyclists rushing past, and really a couple of exceedingly dangerous close passes. So we made it safely, but sometimes you think only just. So through some absolutely spectacular Scottish Highland scenery, but in many ways one of the least enjoyable days riding that I think I've had on the Lejog so far. And just staying in a Travelodge, they're not the greatest, the Travelodge. I mean, the room's all right, let's be honest, they're all right. But there's no breakfast, which has caused a certain amount of upset amongst the team, and we are forced to go, well, not forced to go, but there is a Wetherspoons next door which does breakfast for the drunkards and the people who never got any sleep last night. And although I swore I would never, ever, ever go in a Wetherspoons after what that bastard Tim Martin said about Brexit, I guess I'm going to have to break the habit of a lifetime because I'm a little bit peckish. See how the light just catches the side of the hill there? Isn't that beautiful? I would not say that Fort William is one of the most beautiful cities I've ever seen. In fact, I would go so far as to say to build something like this on the shores of such an attractive loch is almost a travesty. A travesty. But they've done it. People have to live somewhere, I suppose. They have to go in at Wetherspoons if they've not had any breakfast. This is the Stag and Buck in Fort William, which has a similar reputation to Cipriani's in Venice. And there is a Harry who drinks in the Stag and Buck, as there is in Cipriani's, although Harry is often to be found on the floor in his cups or even under his cups. We didn't drink here last night, couldn't get in. Well, that's me, obviously, talking to the camera. And this is my new friend here. This is Glenn Miller. Say hello, Glenn Miller. Don't say got the gear. Why is it that when ventriloquists try and get their doll to talk, the doll always decides to say, got the gear. Stop saying that, Glenn. Sing us a song. No, he didn't sing, did he? He was a trumpet player. Get your trumpet out. He's doesn't seem very happy, does he, Glenn Miller? Mind you, if you'd just been killed in a plane crash near the end of World War II, you wouldn't be very happy either. Crack a smile, go on, Glenn. Crack a smile. I don't think he's going to do it. Of course, this may not be Glenn Miller. Maybe another Glenn. Who knows? Tell us your name, you sod. He's not having it. Filter. Is that how you pronounce that? Filter? Filter? The end of the West Highland Way. Do you know where the West Highland Way started? Fell asleep and I missed it. Greetings from Fort William. No parking in this area. That seems like good advice to me. I'm not sure where you'd put your park. Where you'd park your car next to that bin, or even how you'd get your car into that space. Still, useful advice. Eye to eye. You see what they've done there? That's a Scottishness thing, isn't it? Scottish. And that's a Scottish flag, isn't it? I didn't realise that. You see that? The white cross. You see, that's the Scottish flag. I never noticed. Well, I did notice, because I've just mentioned it.
This could be a metaphor for our trip. It's a bike. And there is a bike and a runner. Would you call that a runner? And this is a bike shop. Yes, we have travelled halfway across the country. Actually, we've probably travelled about 6/8 across the country of Great Britain to find a bike shop. And why not? What I want to know, right, is where is the other half of that bike? I want the other half of that bike. Leave a comment down below if you know where the other half of this bike is. There's a man here dressed for a typical Saturday night in Wetherspoons in Fort William. He's got all his gear. I'll just let you linger on this for a little while so you can read it and decide for yourself whether a Wetherspoons is a suitable replacement for what used to be here. Scottish water. It's not interesting. It's a kind of water fountain, and it's got Scottish water. It's not English water. It's not British water. It's not Welsh water. It's not Northern Irish water. Do they have their own water in Northern Ireland? It is Scottish water. And why is it Scottish water? Because it tastes of haggis. Why else would it be particularly Scottish water? Scottish water passed by Robert the Bruce and Rob Roy, Sean Connery. I can't think of any other famous Scots people. Charles Kennedy, he was a Scotsman, wasn't he? Scottish women. Sheena Easton. Was she Scottish? That's a long time ago. Nicola Sturgeon, yes. Everyone's favourite Scottish woman. Don't know how I got on to the subject of Nicola Sturgeon, so better get off it quickly. The gang prepares to leave Fort William, seen off by this statue here of the great Scottish poet William McGonagall, who I don't know anything about him other than the fact that many people regard him as the worst poet in the whole world, although I personally feel that particular accolade should go to Rod McEwen. This is the Wetherspoons, where I went in and had breakfast, and a very interesting discussion about Brexit with a large man with a big ginger beard. Said his name was Tim Martin, although what he was doing in a Wetherspoons, I have no idea. Leave a comment down below if you know why Tim Martin might be in Wetherspoons talking about Brexit and the problems of getting staff, for which I can only laugh like a fucking drain. This isn't the whole peloton, by the way, this is most of it. Some of them are gone, some of them are still here, including me. But not for long. When we have reached Fort Augustus, or Fort Augusta, can't remember. And this is the Caledonian Canal centre. Had to wait a bit of time for a coffee, but we got there in the end. There's the mill shop, I don't know if you can see that. And over there between the land and the sky, is Loch Ness. I don't know if you can see a small patch of water there. We haven't seen the monster yet, but we are hopeful. So we'll keep our eyes peeled, because there could be, if the monster is eating, of course, we might see the famous sight known as the Monster Munch. Not sure if that's going to be possible. There's people around, as you can see. It's a cold day today in Balamoy. Quite a strong headwind, and we've tonked along. Well, there's not as much tonking as one would have liked, simply because of the wind. Just eaten, thought you'd be interested to know this, an egg and mayonnaise sandwich and a scone with butter and jam and clotted cream. You might think the clotted cream is not a good choice if you're about to do a big bike ride, and you're probably right. Day 8 of the job completed, the penultimate day, and this was the run from Fort William to Evanton. We started off the morning with breakfast in the Wetherspoons, not a place I thought I'd ever go to. And I ordered 3 muffins, one with bacon and egg, one with sausage and egg, and one with bacon and sausage and egg. They were pleasant enough, but they were rather lacking a bit of butter, and the muffins were a bit burnt, so they had some trouble going down. They were sticking to the roof of my mouth. Anyway, we couldn't get into breakfast until 8 o'clock, by the way. There's no breakfast served in the travel lodge. So we got on the road, probably about 8:45, 9 o'clock, something like that, because it was not expected to be a very long day, just under 80 miles or so. So it was grey, it was cloudy, but it wasn't raining. It was a little bit cold, a little bit of a chill in the air. And we headed out of Fort William. I said to Ian, "Is that Ben Nevis on the right?" He said, "No, it's the Glen Nevis Industrial Estate." Although there was what could have been the fabled Ben Nevis, shrouded in mist and cloud, looking gloomily down on us as we tonked along. And we did fair tonk along, actually. There was one climb, not a particularly hard climb, although for the first time on this trip I was behind Ian on the climb and didn't feel like overtaking him. Wasn't my greatest day today. Perhaps I did the wrong breakfast choices. Perhaps just the last 8 days have finally caught up with me. Anyway, today was not a great day. We stopped at Fort Augustus on the Caledonian Canal, just at the base of the Loch Ness. We went into a cafe. It was very busy, and they seem to have a rather odd system. So you place your order with one person, who then gave it to another person, who then gave it to another person, who then gave it to another person, who said it's going to be ready in about half an hour. So you had to wait for your flat white and your, what did I have? An egg mayonnaise sandwich and a scone, yes, with butter and jam and clotted cream, which was that a good idea to have? I'm not sure. Anyway, we continued on from Fort Augustus, in the end riding together, sometimes riding in the peloton, sometimes not, until we got to Drumnadrochit, which, incidentally, is a place that I a place that I stopped on when I was on my honeymoon with my lady wife all those many years ago. We stopped in Drumnadrochit for something to eat, and then had a horrendous climb. Probably the second hardest climb of the route after the Wookey Hole climb. And again, it was cold, there was a headwind, we just weren't feeling 100%. And then there was a rolling road, rather pleasant, good surface in a lot of places. So we went via Loch Ness and followed all along Loch Ness, I would say. We didn't see the monster, kept a lookout, but maybe he was beaming down on us from some of the surrounding hills. But anyway, we didn't see him. Or is it a her? I'm not sure. We continued on, and not particularly interesting countryside, actually. And I noticed that part of it was the North Coast 500 route. And I was thinking to myself, if this is the North Coast 500 route, I might just do the 200 bit that's interesting and miss out the 300 bit that looks a bit like riding through parts of Biggin Hill in Kent, by the way, which is near where I come from. So we then stopped at another cafe in the Muir of Ord, but interesting development, excitement on the road. I was crossing a bridge at the Muir of Ord, and a kind of American orange Mustang shit-kicker car went past me, and I was hurled abuse. Or I was hurled abuse at. No, somebody hurled abuse at me from the car, telling me to get into the cycle lane, which I thought was very nice advice from him, as I was on the narrow bridge and the cycle lane was full of debris and shit and glass and God knows what else, detritus of a Saturday night in the Muir of Ord, which I'm sure is a very exciting place. Anyway, the car sped off down the road. Ian and I stopped at the cafe, had something to eat, and then the final run to Evanton, which wasn't too bad, but all in all, not a great day. Rather odd hotel we were staying in. Went into the bar and ordered gin and tonic. They said, "We haven't got any gin." I said, "What do you mean you haven't got any gin?" "We haven't got any spirits." There were a whole load of spirits in bottles behind the bar. I said, "What about that? There's spirits, aren't there?" "You can't have those," she said, in a South African accent. I thought she was rather a long way from home. Anyway, we'd pre-ordered our meals 2 days ago because the chef was having today off, so I had to cook the meals yesterday probably. And then they came out, and of course nobody could remember what they'd ordered, so there were like 16 of us, and the poor waitress was coming out with the food and saying, "I've got the cheesy nachos," and people said, "Well, I can't remember what I ordered." But luckily, Richard and Martin, our two hard-working ride leaders, had recorded what we wanted and served our food up. So not an unpleasant bedroom am I staying in, but it's very small. The only way I can sit on the toilet, not that you need to know this, but you might be interested, is to shut the door of the toilet, whereas normally I might have the door open as I'm alone in the room and I feel no need for privacy. So today, Monday, is the final day, day 9, the run to John O'Groats. It's going to be a tough one, 100 miles, 7,000 feet of climbing. The weather has turned for the worse in terms of coldness. It's going to be cold, it's going to be very windy later in the day, but hopefully no rain. So next stop, John O'Groats. Actually, there'll be a few stops before John O'Groats, but you know what I mean for the sake of the video. Next stop, John O'Groats. Stay with me.
Monday, bank holiday, the final countdown. Star date, 30th of August 2021. And the gang prepares to depart for John O'Groats. Yes, not as cold as we were expecting, but the wind is going to be getting up and it's going to be a busy road, busy day, busy cycling. But we're all looking forward to the finish when we get to John O'Groats, and we are garlanded with flowers, presented with certificates and awards and prizes. Yes, it is going to be a celebratory evening when we get to John O'Groats. Assuming we do, of course. Assuming we do, but be positive. Be positive. Well, for the first time on this trip, we have hit dampness. Now, dreek, I think the Scottish people call it. There is dampness in the air. There is mist hanging over the hillsides. The road is pretty rough. I think you can probably feel it bouncing around, on a bike bouncing around anyway. And we're heading north, ever north, north towards John O'Groats. A little bit cold today, as I say, a little bit damp, but we are pressing on towards John O'Groats. Come along for the ride. You are probably sitting somewhere nice and warm right now. We are crossing over the Dornoch Firth. Stopped raining. This is a bridge. The Dornoch Firth. I just said that, didn't I? Well, we've reached Golspie and have stopped here at the Coffee Bothy. Coffee Bothy is Scotlandish for a coffee shop, where massive queue, although luckily, because we tonked it along and I really pushed the pace, we were the first, not quite the first here, and thus we're able to get a chocolate brownie, a flapjack, piece of carrot cake, 2 cups of coffee, not all for me, £15.85. And then I just went to a public toilet, 50p. 50p for a piss. Maybe the Scots will make a success of independence after all, if they've got that kind of grasp of economics. Leave a comment down below if you think the Scottish should have independence. Actually, better yet, don't make any comments. Just cause trouble. And social media discord. Don't need that. We passed through Helmsdale, where we stopped for a snack, and are now heading on to Dunbeath, Laveran and John O'Groats, which is 47 miles away. I must say, it is a curiously dull, dreary
and rather uninteresting landscape. I'm looking forward to it getting a bit more exciting, but at the moment, I don't know, it's grey, it's a bit of green, a bit of dark grey on the tarmac. There's some trees, Scottish trees I suppose. But in terms of the kind of spectacular scenery that I was kind of expecting, it's not yet, may still be coming. Of course the car scenery, that is, as Jesus observed, always with us. At the risk of offending people, and when has that ever stopped me, this is some of the dullest landscape I've ever cycled through, and it has to be said that Scotland has some of the ugliest houses I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it's just featureless, it's dreary, it's grey. Okay, that's partly the weather. It's flat, but even the hills, there's nothing interesting about the hills. I am supremely disappointed in this experience. I have cycled the length and breadth of this great country, and I have gone from the delights of the Land's End experience, and I've ended up here. I do hope, because we're about 30 miles away, I do hope it gets better. Gotta say, do hope it gets better. This is the town of Wick, 85 miles in, and we have stopped here at Morag's Cafe for, well, sweets really, cake. Oh, the way the body craves sugar on a ride like this. I've heard Wick, not Wicks. Wick is a town that has seen better days. Not better days that we have seen. Still, Morag's will serve us coffee and serve us sweets, and what more can you ask? Seen me for a while. You will see me partially masked. They're very hot on masks in Scotland, much hotter than they are in England, and probably that is a good thing, because they are trying to keep their population safe in a way that in England they perhaps don't care. Is that an unfair political statement? Maybe, not sure, but they're certainly very strict about it. If you haven't got a mask, you can't get in. So, this is nearly it. The end of an epic journey. And we travelled through, as we've travelled through pretty much all day, some of the dullest landscapes. I suppose there's a kind of bleakness to it, but it's really quite featureless, and well, hard to put into words really. I guess we're nearly there, and you've shared pretty much this whole journey with me, and I hope you found it exciting. China Groats, a welcome
at the end of the road. Is it the end of the road? Is it the beginning of the road? Is it a bit like life? Oh, shut up, Julian. There's a line from Leonard Cohen that was running through my head at 3 o'clock this morning, and I couldn't get out. It's like a journey to the moon or to some other star. I guess you'd go for nothing if you really want to go that far. And I guess that's what you do. That's why you do it, isn't it? You do Land's End to John O'Groats because, well, I guess you go for nothing if you really want to go that far. You might do it for charity, you might do it for love, you might do it to find yourself. But you do it at the end of the day, as Mallory said of climbing Everest, because it's there. And if you're a cyclist, I guess it's what you do. So we go through John O'Groats and we head for the sign that says turn around and go back to Land's End. And if we get down here and we go down a hill and we have to climb back up again after having ridden 970 miles, I shall not be a very happy runny. But I guess a cyclist has got to do what a cyclist has got to do. We have to get to the sign. But where is the sign? Where is the sign? Who knows where the sign is? We cannot find the foxy sign. Where is the sign? Sorry? What, down there? And this is the John O'Groats experience. We have made it. Me and my mate Ian, the John O'Groats, to the sign that says, whoa! The sign that says, you've done it. Put it there, matey. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, he breaks his bicycle. Well done. Cheers, matey. Kudos. Famous sign, Land's End, 874 miles. We come further than that, haven't we? Orkney, Shetland. Hang on a minute. Wait a minute. Here we are. That's the sign. Me and my mate Ian, we've ridden every mile together.
Why?
Why? Never again. Never again, we say.
Near enough.
With bike adventures. But we've enjoyed every minute of it.
That's good.
Good morning on day 10. Yesterday was day 9, the final day of the jog, which was the run from Evanton to John O'Groats, 102 miles. Not the most interesting of rides. The kind of landscape was dull and featureless and grey and sea, a lot of sea, and some of the most ugliest architecture of houses I think I've ever seen in my life. But
we made it. A couple of stops in Golspie, that was the first one, then in Helmsdale. A couple of big climbs, Berrydale, which I remember well from Paul Jones's book, End to End. And then we got to Wick, poor old Wick, poor old Wick. And then it was 17 miles, mostly flat, mostly dull, mostly featureless, until we arrived at the famous John O'Groats sign and toiled, sped, whatever we did. We sped down the hill into the little kind of harbour, bit of a Land's End experience type place where there is the iconic sign pointing to Land's End and New York, and yes, West Wickham in Kent, funnily enough, what a surprise, where we had our photos taken, and then back to the Seaview Hotel for our final night on Scottish soil, and now it's home. Now we'll be making, in addition to this video of the trip, some additional videos which will include what went well, what didn't go well, what are some lessons from the jog, what are some suggestions, what are some ideas, if you're thinking of doing the jog, what might perhaps give you a little bit of benefit, a little bit of help along the way. But in the meantime, all it remains for me to say is thanks for taking the time to stay with me on this journey. I'm sorry if it's gone on a bit too long. I'm sorry if I've moaned too much, but it wouldn't be one of Julian's videos without the moaning. So stay with me. See you the next time. See you on the road. And thanks for watching. Look, the famous,
You don't see midges.
the famous Scottish midge. Luckily I was not attacked by this midge
No.
or this midge or even, wait for it, this. I was not attacked either by the COVID midge. This is the COVID midge. This is, as Ian so memorably said, Majur, who wrote that great song, When Will That Fucking Song About Christmas Finally Be Over? Yes, Majur. Vienna, oh, Vienna. No, that's not it, is it? It's the other one.